Hello my beautiful people, welcome to your weekly general tarot scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for everybody. These are the general energies, trends and themes we're likely to experience over the course of the coming week. Sometimes world events will come up here, sometimes it's just about a microcosmic message that has a little bit of a flavouring to it through my intuitive message. With that said, if you are, before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So for your destiny card, or rather before we even get into the destiny card, this week the messages that I got from my intuition. So before I do the weekly general, I will sit in quiet contemplation. Sometimes I'll have music accompanying me most of the time, and I will go into my intuition and I will just wait and I will ask, what is it that we need to know, that we're like, what is the message that you would like to deliver this week? And the first one that I saw was different colors all coming in, almost like, I don't know if you've ever seen like a maypole. It weaves a pattern in the end, and I saw all these different colors coming in, and then as I got closer to the vortex that was being created, I could see hands that were joining, and so it was like I could see literally all of these hands coming together. And what I took away from that was, this week, find or build your tribe, right? Be open to the idea that you are meant to connect with new people. Be open to the idea that you are meant to be the connection point between people, all right? So your group endeavors, your group connections are going to be very, very important this week. And that was the feeling that I got from it. And then finally, once that subsided, what I actually saw, it's a bit hard to describe, but I will put it in the words. This week, you decide what is true, all right? So whatever happens on the news, whatever you are told, whatever we are given by way of information, etc., you have to use your own discernment this week. You have to be very, very clear in your yes, your support structure, absolutely, but more importantly, your inner scaffolding and your inner knowing has to be solid this week, right? And so the reason I say this is, whatever it is that's revealed on the wider world stage, whatever is said or revealed this week, because it felt like a revelation, and like I said, I don't really want to go into what I saw, because that's not what's important. The message was the thing that was important, and I know you can't see it because of the light there. Let me try and put, but yeah, you decide what is true, basically. So this week, when you see something on the news and you think, okay, check in with your emotions, check in with your intuition. Ask yourself, do I actually believe that? Is it true for me? I mean, this is something that you should be doing all the time. I don't watch the news. Literally, unless I'm scrolling past stuff, I don't really see any of that stuff, unless I go hunting for it. Because I on purpose, I steer clear of it, because I find all of it very divisive by its very nature. So I try to steer clear of all of that stuff and anything that has that kind of energy or message underlying it. But this week, be very diligent with your intuition. And like I said, ask yourself, is it true for you? Because you decide what is true to you and what isn't. For our destiny card for the week ahead, we have the strength card, right? So the strength card is your heart of hearts. So this week, before you make any decisions, check in with this, right? Does your heart tell you that it's right? Does your heart tell you that it's true? That is the space and the place that you come from this week. So instead of being in the mindset, you want to be in the heart set, all right? Now, that being said, especially, yeah, because it's the strength card as well. This isn't just about figuring out what is true for you. It's also about finding the guts, the courage or the gumption to go after what it is that actually feels like it's supposed to be for you. So this week, it may be that something that you do is either unpopular or goes against the grain. It may even be something that forces you to challenge yourself in order to get it done, or in order to set off in this sort of in this direction. And it's funny that this has come up because recently, too much of a tangent, but to cut it short, for myself, this is actually quite relevant already. And the reason being is because I'm working against dissolving a certain experience that I'm no longer interested in having. So it's very interesting that this is coming up because it's forcing me to level up how I feel about everything. So really, really intriguing. For our direction cards, how do we best utilize or tap into that strength card? Well, through the Queen of Swords. I have to turn my deck around because they're all upside down. So one way is through the Queen of Swords. This is being ready, willing and able to fight for what you believe in and standing your ground when it comes to that. So I guess one of the ways that you tap into this strength card is not allowing somebody to sway you and not allowing someone to, you know, when people just chuck a whole bunch of buzzwords and jargon at you to try and dissuade you from your thinking, etc. Don't allow yourself to be swayed, right? Stay in that heart space and leave the mind stuff to everybody else. Then we've got the Fool card, right? So new things, new people. The Queen of Swords can represent a person, usually an air sign woman, an Aquarius, a Gemini or a Libra. This suggests that a new person, a new air sign, possibly an air sign woman, but a new air sign person in some way, shape or form is likely to come up for all of us. This could also represent some new or fresh reason for conflict, which I really hope isn't the case. It could also be a moment at which you start to understand what needs to be cut off now in order for the next level to open up for you. And then you've got the Wheel of Fortune. Wow. All right, so this week, if we want to succeed, we have to be ready, willing and able to have the tough conversation, to go where we never dared before. And for some people, this may even be about standing up to a person who seems to always get their way, or an organization. It could be, you know, it could be standing in the face of authority to say, actually, while you are the authority, you don't govern my sovereignty. There's something in this week where I feel like a lot of us are going to see something very much for what it is, and it's about really saying, you know what, I choose not to have that as an experience anymore. The Wheel of Fortune with the Fool card is beautiful because it suggests so the Wheel of Fortune, the Fool card with the Queen of Swords, this suggests new people, or at least a new person coming into our lives. With the Fool card with the Wheel of Fortune, not only is that a spontaneous moment of luck, this is actually a spontaneous moment of pure destiny, and I don't say that very lightly. And on top of that, it's very likely that this week we are going to be connected to some new place in the world. So I would pay attention to places and spaces that you have, that are new to you, that are now opening up to you. As a direction card, as a direction triplet, really, we're really being asked to take everything in a new direction, and that sometimes means cutting off, releasing or letting go of what, it's not even about what doesn't serve you, right? No, nothing in the world really is here to serve us. We're all in some way, shape or form here to serve humanity and to serve the divine, let's say. And what that means is this week it's really about releasing what you know is no longer you. And the reason I'm mentioning this is it's like, I've forgotten the name of the artist, but the guy that carved out the Abraham Lincoln figure said he was always in there. I just had to remove what wasn't him. And this week, this is what this direction triplet is saying to me. It's like, there are big changes on the horizon for all of us. For some of us, it's going to be on the ground. For some of us, it's going to be spiritual. For some of us, it's going to be mental, emotional, psychic. For some people, it might be all above. But in order to go to whatever you perceive your next level to be, and maybe even in order to connect to or build your tribe, there are things that this week you're going to have to cut off, cut back and release. This is a time of pruning, my dear friends, and it's time for you to start thinking about what is superfluous and what is ready to go. For our insight cards, what may be going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of, what might we need to know, and what may be coming in. So we have the Queen of Swords. All right, so I'm going to say this straight up. if you think this week that you're going to be able to coast through without any form of conflict, think again. I'm really sorry to say that, and I hate inciting that kind of thing into the world. But if your dreams are if you're doing what you can to make your dreams happen, if you are working hard towards building your own dreams and making those a reality, there's going to come a point where you have to fight for it. And this week, you decide what is true, right? And this whole thing about find or build your tribe is very much about finding those that resonate and connect with you, so that when you feel like you're out of depth, you can connect to those people to gain some form of wisdom. I'll give you an example. For those of you that have been with me long enough, you know I have a couple of groups actually of people that I do meditations with, people that we do work with each other and like all kinds of stuff. And it's a really wonderful vibe. It's a really wonderful energy. One day I can't remember, we were talking about something and I said to somebody, but that's the whole point of this group, right? So at the time there were 4 of us in that group. And I said to them, given the fact of the ages that we have at least 120 years worth of experience between us, because we're not the same person. Yes, in fact, all of us came from the same place, but we're all on very different paths now with completely different lives. So that's 120 plus years worth of insight, experience, knowledge, wisdom, all coupled into that group. And so therefore, when one of us has a problem, we've got 120 plus years to fucking get rid of that problem. We've got a whole bunch of ways to dismantle that challenge or that issue that might rise up. Find your people. And for those of you out there that are saying, oh, I don't know where to find my tribe and build one. If you can't find one, build one. And for those of you that asked the question, I had a wonderful lady on one of my tarot courses who is she's still in my orbit, and I love her for it. And one day she said to me, okay, I hear you. How do I do that? How do I build that? And it's a brilliant question. And my answer to her was, how does it rain? How does it rain? One water molecule joins another water molecule, and then they join another, and then they join another, until it's too heavy to stay afloat in the air, and then it starts that chain reaction. So if you don't have a tribe and you can't find one, you are tasked to build one. All right, that is what I need to say to you, and that's the biggest message that I guess I can get across. That Queen of Swords, especially because she's come up twice now, and it is a card of having to fight for what you want, to remove what needs to be removed or to let go of it, and to go to war for something if you need be. And I hate to use that sort of terminology, especially just because of everything that's going on in the world at the moment. But if you think all of this is just going to fall in your lap this week and you're not going to have to fight for your dreams, unfortunately, you're mistaken, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Haha. Then we have the World card. All right, so this will be interesting to see how that plays out, because the World card, as I've said many a times, is about communities. It's about the world, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And then we have the 5 of Wands. More isn't always more. All right, sometimes, we really do need to be selective. And that 5 of Wands is really asking you to be very clear on who makes the cut, who is your people and who isn't. And be okay with that. All right, if someone says to you, actually, you know what, I don't really feel like we're meant to connect anymore, or you feel like removing yourself from a group, or you feel like removing someone or something from your space, let it go with grace. There's a reason for that, because there are all these wonderful, amazing new things trying to come in. And it's like you're trying to hold on to everything that you've already got in order to go to that next space. Not possible. Sometimes there are things that we need to release or let go of in order to get to that next space. All right, so ask yourself, what are you ready to do with it? With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Sorry for the rant. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.